If you'll remember from yesterday's talk, the kind of progression, the jump spot is up here on the north side of the drainage. They jump into the jump spot. Wag Dodge picks a spot near the draw bottom to put the parachutes, jumpsuits, and all the equipment from the supply packs that are parachuted down to them, and says, sit down, get a bite to eat, eating rations, sea rations at the time, get a bite to eat, fill your canteens, double tool, and come on up to the fire. I'm going to go up there and check in with the guy who he hears whistling and yelling up there, Jim Harrison. I'm fairly certain Wag Dodge thought he was tying in with the ground pounders up there, thinking there was probably a crew there, not just one guy, a recreation guard. But that's who's up there, Jim. He sees the plane, he sees the jump, and as a former jumper himself from the 48 season, he starts working his way down to the fire. Wag meets him somewhere, we don't know where, up here on this side hill, says, "This is a death trap up here. Why don't you follow me and join the crew?" And of course, Jim Harrison, that's not his job. His job is really to report the fire, not to actually fight the fire. But that's not Jim's way. You know, as a former smoke jumper, he's got that can-do attitude. But so Jim says yes and follows Wag back down the side slope. Somewhere out here in the side hill, they meet the crew coming up to the fire, double tooled, ready to attack the fire. But Wag tells Bill Hellman, his squad leader, he doesn't like the looks of things up here. This fire is really burning aggressively, and what he wants Bill to do is take these guys straight off the slope. Don't go back down to the lunch spot. Drop straight off the hill into the bottom and come up on this other side and then contour. Stay on the same contour and go down to the river. They'll anchor right at the river and begin to flank the fire, build line back this way. He says, this guy and I are going to go back to where the cargo assembly area is, grab some rations and some water, and we'll catch up with you. And so Bill takes these guys down, and they're staying on contour. Any idea why he doesn't just tell Bill, take the guys right down to the river? You know, come off and just take the guys right down the river, a direct line. Any reason you can think of why he would have had them go in the bottom and then come up on the side hill and then approach the river? The big thing is, from over here, they can look back and they can see the fire. They can watch the fire. Down here, or on this side hill, they haven't got a line of sight to the fire at all. They have no idea what it's doing. So that's why they come up on this side hill. They're coming down here. Wag and Jim go to the lunch spot up here, or the cargo assembly area. They don't sit down and eat lunch. They grab a box or two of rations, fill up their canteens, and they come down this side, catching up to the tail end of the crew, which at this point, somewhere out in here, has broken into two groups with about 500 feet in between them. Not usually how a crew behaves. On a fire, you stay together, right? Yeah, but they're spread out. So Wag stops the crew. He goes to the front of the line, sends Bill Hellman back to the end, and they continue their route. This is that ridge line that I pointed out to you. We're on the back side of it here. And on the skyline, you can just barely see the top of that tree I was pointing out there. You can just see a few boughs on the very top. That's where Wag, who's out in front of the crew, the rest of them are back on this slope, and he comes up to the top, looks down into that basin we were at just a few minutes ago, and sees all these spot fires rapidly burning together and coming right up that slope right at him. Okay? And that's when he turns them around. He doesn't turn them around. He goes back to the line, and they kind of reverse, and they take a diagonal across this slope. That diagonal takes them probably through the top half of this scree slope here, and then through this next one here. They go up over that ridge and cross 2 more scree slopes. And as I was telling you, you get out into those scree slopes, it's tough sledding. That's where I believe in there that the crew, in their attempts to get up and across that slope and to go around the trees that are growing in there, as well as stands of Rocky Mountain maple and 9 bark and other shrubs in there, they all kind of end up picking their way separately across. So when they come out of this one, there are some guys up the slope, there are some guys down the slope. That's only aggravated when they go through this second one here. And then they go over to the third and then the fourth one, and it's not until they get in the top of that fourth one that Wag realizes at the rate they're moving, they're not going to outrun this fire. And he says, drop your heavy equipment. And that's where they drop it back over this hill. When I take firefighters like yourselves in here, a lot of guys will look up the slope here and say, well, why didn't, just like Sally and Rumsey escaped the fire on the upper end of the gulch here by seeking out one of these scree fields, why didn't they just hunker down there? And the reason is, look at this second one, look at this one here. You can't see the trees. You begin to see some of these dead ones laying right in this. There was a lot of fuel in there. Those scree fields tend to collect moisture, snow and rain, and because it's underneath that rock, it doesn't evaporate, it doesn't dry up so much. So they're really great growing environments for shrubs, forbs, and trees. And so the answer to that question, why didn't they just hunker down here? It was too much fuel in there. And when the fire comes up behind, it burns right through, right across those scree slopes. So there's enough in there that it can carry the fire across there. It was not a safe place to hold out the fire. But they go across this guy, they're just going obliquely up this slope. And there was much more material on the ground, but the 2007 fire really sanitized things up here. Okay. Took down a lot of snags like this guy here. This is a 49. You know, there's still some of the old guys. You can still see them up in here. But it really did. It really sanitized. And you also see how the rim rock kind of peters out across here, but then it picks up again. You'll see it as we get around the corner up here. All right, you see this little knob right here on the skyline? That's where we're going to go. We're going to follow up and then come back and go up to the top of that guy right there. So we've got a little walk in front of us here.